What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I am your host, Jeremiah, and I am back. I'm joined by Dave.
Also back.
And James, still here.
Still back.
Hi, still back. I'm Jeremiah. That's for you, Debbie.
He didn't say I am. Just said still back.
It wasn't a great joke, Dave.
No, it was a terrible joke.
Last week, Joel and James hosted the podcast. You guys did a great job, and we actually got some mail about stuff you guys talked about. Joel had like 3 different calls to action to the audience to write in if you have a thought about this, write in if you have a thought about this. You know, I mean, as we know, Joel's really good at that self-promotion stuff.
Joel just sounded...
How's it going today? I want to talk to you about this board game I'm working on.
Also, do you have an iPhone or an Android? Something real quick.
I'm doing a poll.
He was just in like a very pondering mood last week, it seemed like.
There's the cards feature on YouTube live streams. There's a card where you can have a poll. So I was tempted to ask Joel, we should start doing that like every week, have a card poll where Joel can just ask Joel's question of the week and people can chime in with whatever they want. But we actually don't have any announcements this week. Everything is normal. Everything is fine. Everything is good. Except for, you may have noticed if you're watching the podcast live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week, we're streaming it on my channel, youtube.com/germgaming. And then probably next week, we'll be streaming it on Dave's channel, Evil Viking 13. That's just because we have a lot of people subscribed to our channels who aren't subscribed to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast. Not that you have to be subscribed to both or all 3, but we think that quite a few of you who are subscribed to us might also enjoy the podcast, so we want to put it in front of you so you guys can check it out. And if you like it, go to youtube.com/casualshenanigans, subscribe, and there is lots of awesome content over there. All right, tonight's main topic actually was not planned to be a main topic, and then a couple news items just happened to line up all of a sudden. Stuff that this has not happened like really ever. And 3 games have had this happen in the past week and a half. So thought this was significant enough we should maybe talk about it. It's something we've talked about for a while. So H1Z1 last week announced they were splitting into 2 parts. Battle Royale, which is the mode that everyone plays, and H1Z1 Just Survive. And that's going to be the multiplayer battle arena version, and then the regular multiplayer normal game.
I feel like that name was just like,
mode.
So what do we call this one? I don't know, just Survive?
Yeah, like I don't know why they couldn't just keep it H1Z1 and H1Z1 Battle Royale.
Yeah.
But they decided to break it in half because a lot of people just want to play Battle Royale, and they wanted to be able to sell them the game at a little bit cheaper, lower barrier for entry. Anyone who already bought the game because it's an early access, like us, we will be getting both versions of the game. I haven't checked Steam to see when that's going to switch over and both versions would show up, but we'll be getting both versions, and people going forward can buy one or the other. And if you buy both, it's the same price as the full game. You really just have the option to pay less if you don't want both versions.
What a weird time to do that, though, while it's in beta.
That
make
game,
that kind of switch. I mean,
well, they weren't expecting, or I don't think they were expecting Battle Royale to take off like it did, like become its own sport almost.
Yeah, the two very strange things happened with H1Z1 after it launched. The first one was like a month after it entered early access, which was the early access point was what, like 11 months later than planned. Like it was super late. I mean, that happens, but then their studio was sold off a month after it went into early access, and now they're Daybreak Studios instead of Sony Online Entertainment. And then, like you said, the Battle Royale got much more popular than they expected, and it actually leached players, I'm pretty confident, from the survival mode, which was taking a long time to see progress. It was a lot easier to make changes to the giant sandbox PvP mode than like the complicated AI zombie survival balancing deal that is all on that side of things.
So, and that was interesting. And I believe, James, you guys talked about it briefly last week, right?
yeah, we did talk about it as a news item.
Yeah. So then this week, Star Citizen, Cloud Imperium Games announced that Star Citizen is splitting in 2. It was always announced that there was going to be a single-player campaign called Squadron 42, and there was going to be the online multiplayer persistent universe. Well, now, you will be able to buy either one of those parts for $45, and you can add the other part for $15. So you're still buying most of the game monetarily, but you will only get half of the game. Now, I think buying the persistent multiplayer universe for $45 is a better deal than buying a single player campaign.
Can I buy the $15 before the $45 one?
And now it's worth mentioning, $45 is about what is the whole game costs right now. The price has been slowly inching up as they've furthered through development, and they announced new stretch goals and stuff. So that's pretty interesting because the game's nowhere close to finished yet. There are small pieces of the persistent universe that you can play, but now it's just a tech demo of the persistent universe, and there is no single player campaign yet, which they've been very upfront about. This game is one of the most ambitious games ever made, most likely. And it's going to take them a while to do it right, and everybody who's kickstarted it, I think, is kind of on board with that. But that's their package split option. And then Call of Duty. Now, this is not all Call of Duties, but Black Ops 3, there's now
it's the only one that matters at this point.
Well, yeah. And there's a limited multiplayer starter pack that's gone up on Steam for $15. It does not include the campaign, zombies, or the custom multiplayer games, and you can't prestige. And also you can't do mods with any of the mod tools or modded content, although I don't think mods are out for the game yet. And you can't play on ranked servers. So
it's like vanilla multiplayer, basically.
It's like vanilla multiplayer with no real competitive aspect of it, but it's $15. And let's be honest, everyone buys Call of Duty for the multiplayer, really. Like, you play the campaign.
I rent it for the single player.
I rent it for the campaign, but like if you play Call of Duty every year, like if Call of Duty is one of your games, you play for multiplayer. So that's 3 games in a week and a half. What do you guys think about this? This is something we've talked about before, as would be really cool, just turning games into a platform and letting you buy the piece you want instead of the whole thing. So is this good?
Partially.
Okay.
With H1Z1, I don't think it's good.
Okay.
Only because, number one, the product's not ready at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I fear that they're pretty much going to ditch the single player if they don't get enough interest behind it, which means it's not going to probably come to the consoles at that point.
By single player, do you mean the
I mean not single. I don't mean single.
Yeah.
I mean the survive.
Okay.
Just survive.
Because that already happened in just the development of the game. Battle Royale has gotten the majority of the attention, and they're working on some long-term kind of DayZ style stuff, like redoing the map system, redoing the rendering system, redoing the AI for the zombies. Those are long-term, hurdles to overcome in the development. But the reality is that Battle Royale has seen most of the development time in the last year.
I mean, you got to look at the cost benefit. I mean, if it's not benefiting them to put a lot of work into the just survive, then they're probably not going to. I mean, as much as they love making the game, I mean, there's still someone always has to, think business-wise.
Yeah.
Do you think they're doing that just so they can sell more copies of Battle Royale to people who have heard about it?
Yes.
Who aren't at all interested in the game?
Yep.
So do you think that means that are you worried that the regular game is going to be less supported?
Yes.
Okay. And which one of you said you don't think it's going to come out on consoles?
I did.
I mean, it's kind of weird. That whole game has changed so much in development. Like, it was going to be coming out in 4 weeks. It was going to be this free to play, blah, 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 blah. Then it wasn't going to be free to play. Then Battle Royale took off. Then the game got really hacked. Then they started redoing large pieces of it. Now they're splitting into 2. H1Z1 is definitely one of those games that might never really happen.
Yeah.
But the Battle Royale mode, kind of like DayZ, even if it's broken and there's issues and everything else, the Battle Royale mode's pretty popular. Now, I know you guys, you're not super into Star Citizen, as far as I know. Neither of you are. But what do you think about that? Because that's a very lopsided pricing model.
I mean, right now, do you purchase ships in the game? Or do you purchase, ship templates?
No, as part of the pre-order packages, you can buy nicer ships that will be guaranteed to you when you're in the game. But you can just buy the basic version of the game, which is what I bought.
The pricing for that, though, was ridiculous, doesn't it?
For the ships?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are like $10,000.
Yeah, I mean,
so
them splitting it, I mean,
the majority of people have just bought the game, though. They haven't.
Right.
They haven't paid extra for all the crazy stuff. Think of it just ignoring the crazy pre-order stuff. What do you think about the idea of having a $45 entry and then a $15 add-on? Do you think they do that because then it seems like, it's only $15 more to get access to the rest of the game? Why not?
I mean, it definitely lowers the barrier of entry for, people trying out the game that wouldn't necessarily want to try it.
Is $15 significant?
No, I mean, not if it's a $60 worth game, then definitely not.
Mhm.
But does that mean it's probably not going to go on sale as often as other games because they have to hit that $45 entry?
Mhm.
Possibly.
Dave, what do you think?
I mean, I've kind of been watching Star Citizen from the sidelines, so I'm not too worried about this, and it kind of makes sense. I think it's definitely gonna be a game that I play. I mean, it's gonna be one of the PC's like major titles, like I think probably a Crisis level title, and I think I'll probably play both parts of it. So, yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, I could see this making more sense for something like Call of Duty, where multiplayer, the complete multiplayer is $45 and the single player is $15. That makes more sense because really most people spend time with the multiplayer version and people spend a lot less time with single player. For Star Citizen, what's kind of confusing to me is that the single player, my understanding has always been it's going to be like a Call of Duty or Battlefield campaign. It's going to be a bit shorter. It's going to be story driven. It's supposed to be pretty exciting, but it's really to get you into the world of Star Citizen.
Yeah, yeah.
And even if it's really, really good, it's still, I mean, if it was an amazing first person shooter campaign, it'll be what, 20 hours? I mean, that would be like a crowning pinnacle of amazing first person shooter campaigns if it was good for that long. But the multiplayer component, people are going to play for hundreds of hours or thousands of hours. So does that really make a difference? I don't know. I don't really know who would want to pay $45 for the single player version and then tack on the multiplayer universe for an extra 15.
What about the other way around?
I think it makes a ton of sense.
I mean, if GTA did that, I would do that in a heartbeat. I mean, the single player is good.
For which one? Because it used to be all single player, and then they tacked on multiplayer. And this is the first time where I feel like the balance has completely swung. In one game, it swung in the other direction.
I mean, I would pay for the multiplayer.
Pay for the multiplayer?
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't even buy the single player.
Wow, really?
I mean, I might buy it if it was on sale, but if I had a choice between buying the whole game and just buying the multiplayer, I would probably just buy the multiplayer at this point. Not for $45, so maybe 30. I think 30 would be a good split for that.
Do you think it should be like 30-30?
Yeah. I honestly feel like GTA's more than a $60 game at this point.
Oh,
so
my
it's like
gosh.
a $120 game.
Yeah, the value of that game is just ridiculous. Like, I wish they could crank out more content for online. Like, I would pay them.
I want to pay for DLC. I want to buy
exactly. Like,
new.
If they can give that much away for free, I want to see like what's worth $10. Because I would pay. I'd pay like $3 or $4 a month worth in content easily.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten that much enjoyment out of GTA, so. There's definitely more money there they could be getting, although they've sold like 30 million copies. So at this point, they may not care. They're like, how many billions of dollars did we make? All right, you guys can have some new clothes. Oh, we're so generous.
Every time they release that, the cash cards probably pick up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure.
Each new set of cars that get released and stuff. So.
Especially after this last time, I haven't seen a bunch of hackers again. So maybe they've actually gotten better about that to make those cash cards worth something. But so Call of Duty, I feel like, is probably the best game you could split into pieces and sell because it's one of the most obvious examples of a game that people are buying.
And any first-person shooter, Halo, Call of
Duty,
Battlefield, yeah. What are some other games besides first-person shooters you think would benefit from this model? Because it sounds like we're not really sure about multiplayer persistent universe games. Like I don't really want them to announce a $10 add-on DayZ single-player campaign. Sports, there isn't really a single player anyway. It's all multiplayer and then like the career mode. Yeah. But that's not really a story. That's just a...
Yeah, I think FPS games are where this is really going to shine. I don't see it taking off for a lot of other genres. I don't see there ever being a Rocket League bot mode for $5 and the multiplayer is $25 or anything like that. that would be awful.
Do you think there's any value to selling a stripped down version for cheap, like the multiplayer starter pack for Call of Duty? Or do you think that just will alienate more people because they're not getting the full multiplayer experience? Like, how many of those do you think will convert into sales?
Actually, I found that it's kind of just a starting pack for Call of Duty. That's a very interesting decision, and probably from a business perspective, a smart one, because if you sold the complete package for multiplayer for even more money, I think a lot of people would go for that instead of the full game. But some people might double dip if it's just a $15 vanilla one. Like they really get into it and then get more of the game later.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very smart move for them, kind of cutting it down just a bit and then letting people have that taste. It's like a demo of the multiplayer almost.
I think it's interesting that most of these so far, H1Z1 people seem to be pretty split on, but for Star Citizen and Call of Duty, people seem to be generally very positive about it. But if you take content out of a game before it's released and then sell it later as DLC, people understandably are fairly upset about that.
We're not going to name any names of Battlefront.
So do you think there is some value to that $60 price point where you can cut stuff down below that and then sell it back to people and everyone's totally fine with it?
Yeah.
But if you get, more than you feel is $60 of content and you cut the top off and sell it for more than $60, I mean, do you think it's just because people are so conditioned to $60?
Yeah.
I mean, games have been $60 for how long? 10 years, 15 years? That's been the normal price?
Yeah. And I was reading an article today actually talking about how a big part of kind of the return of bigger games is because like microtransactions and DLC and add-ons can really help add more profit onto a game where a publisher might have sunk tons and tons of money onto it. It's pretty interesting.
Well, I worry about games like Call of Duty adding that pay-to-win aspect, buying new guns, and I mean, not obviously.
Call of Duty hasn't done that yet, have they?
Right? No, not yet.
Oh,
but
okay.
if this is their first foray into splitting,
gotcha.
I mean, they could on the next game
sell gun packs and stuff.
Like, hey, worked really well for Battlefield. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with Battlefield, it doesn't really matter how nice of a gun you have. As long as everyone else has 2 grenades every time they spawn, nothing matters. But I'm curious, everyone, if you're listening to this and you think, oh, I would want this particular game, it would make sense if this was split into pieces, or like I'd pay $15 for the single player version of this, but I don't care about the multiplayer. Leave a comment, write in. I'm curious because like it's something we've talked about wanting for a while on the podcast. We've mentioned it numerous times, and now that's happened to a couple games. I mean, it's not blowing my mind. Like, it seems interesting. I guess Hitman could be lumped in with this too. It seems interesting, but now it kind of feels like, well, I don't know if it should be episodic.
It could be abused is the main problem that I have. Like, it's pretty good right now. It could be actually good for the consumer in some cases, but down the road, this could be another opportunity to milk your customers for more money in a way that doesn't really give them anything in return.
But on the positive side, because there's 2 different ways to look at it, and that's one way, and I don't disagree with you, but to be devil's advocate, on the other side, I think you can easily make a case that it makes games more accessible for people who weren't going to give it a chance to start with. And now, if this exposes more people to your brand, to your game, maybe they'll enjoy it. And if they didn't enjoy it, they won't feel like they lost quite as much money. So I think $15 for multiplayer is a little bit of a no-brainer for people who are kind of interested in Call of Duty. Because like if I rent let's say I wanted to play multiplayer and I didn't want to buy the game, so I went to Redbox and I got it out for 2 or 3 days. I'll spend almost $10 on the rental. So for $15, if I'm really only interested in multiplayer, I mean, like that's not that bad of a deal.
Right.
And I think they're kind of counting on all those people. Also because historically Call of Duty games have done very poorly on PC since I think around the first Black Ops is when it started going downhill because of hackers and everything else. So maybe this is part of their effort to reclaim a little bit of the PC market.
Well, I mean, I mentioned a few times on the podcast where I would like to see, certain games like Halo and the Call of Duty franchise split and then create more of a kind of an architecture to be able to add on to later instead of doing yearly or, every 2-year releases of a multiplayer. And then just, people buy new packs to add on to what they currently have.
which is what looks like is going to be happening with the next Gran Turismo, depending on how you read the things they've talked about with it. So I'm kind of curious to hear what comes of that. Like, I want to be excited, but it's taking them so long to even talk about the game. I'm a little like, when will the next content pack drop? Like 2019?
See, I don't know if Call of Duty Black Ops 3 could work that way, but if they did Call of Duty Online and then just made that a focus, you buy it one time and then you buy like the large packs later. Like just like you do with, Battlefront, you buy DLC packs and you can have those release every year.
I mean, Call of Duty will have to do something. You think they'd have to do something. Maybe they don't, honestly. It's selling so well still, somehow, that they don't really have to change anything. But
I mean, for me, the single player is always really good.
It's always really fun, but you play it once and then you're done, right?
Right.
And James, you mentioned earlier that you would definitely jump on the multiplayer for some of these. If this was a more common option, you'd get the multiplayer first. And I bet you're going to be with me on this one. Like, I've got a huge backlog of great, huge single player games. If a game came out like, say, just The Division, and it had like a full 15-hour single player campaign and then the multiplayer, and you can buy them separately, I would buy the multiplayer, play it with everybody on launch window, wait till the single player is like a third of the price a year and a half from now, and then play it then, because there's no rush for single player.
Or wait for Joel to buy you a copy. He's like, Joel, Dave, you got to play. It's so good.
It's so good. Play with me, Joel. It's single player, but just play with me. Like, I know you're playing at the same time.
If you're listening, Joel, we love you.
Do that more, please. Buy stuff.
But it is now time to move on to the news.
News time.
That felt a little weak, James.
My throat's really dry tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Dave, what's your news item?
My news item is about Intel and some changes to Z170 motherboards. You guys
try to make that a little bit sexier if you can.
I'm trying to open the tab and get rolling all at the same time here. Okay, so you guys are aware that when it comes to overclocking Intel CPUs, if you want to overclock, you're supposed to buy the K versions of their CPUs. It has a K at the end. If you want to overclock, those are the ones you get. Well, ASRock has actually had some motherboards.
ASRock.
Sorry,
it doesn't matter.
ASRock has had some
Jeremiah's
motherboards.
telling you how to pronounce stuff. This is a new day.
As if Rock has some motherboards. They actually give you the option to allow base clock frequency overclocking on restricted, so non-K Intel CPUs. It's basically a different, less efficient way of forcing an overclock on a CPU. And once they started doing it, a bunch of other motherboard vendors also released some firmware updates for their motherboards that allowed you to do this for CPUs that weren't K and designated for overclocking whatsoever. Intel is not happy about that and actually asked As If Rock to remove that option from the firmware, and they complied. And now Intel is going around and making sure that all the other manufacturers remove this option. It makes sense. Intel has a top tier exclusive overclockers version of their CPU that's more expensive. They want you to pay for it. I haven't always been super happy about that, but the K ones have been around for a long time and it doesn't appear to change. I was telling Jeremiah earlier, though, I do think it's just kind of funny that they're so adamant about making sure that you're only allowed to overclock the K processors. You only have that ability to do so on the K processors, when officially they don't warranty or support any overclocking whatsoever officially and legally on any of their processors because of liability. So it's like, we don't support overclocking, but if you're going to, here's the one you have to kind of scenario. It's interesting, I think. They actually got around it.
What I don't like about that is that, so they've got the nice, this is the version you get if you're overclocking, but they don't have K versions of any of their i3 processors. Like, what if somebody really wants that $100, $120 price point and they really have no use for a $250 processor to overclock? Like, I don't think it's unreasonable to want to spend a little bit cheaper. They'll do the G3258, which is a $70, $65 processor, which is fully unlocked. But that's only dual core, no hyperthreading, which means it's not really a good option for gaming these days. Numerous modern games only work if you have at least 4 processing threads. So, it's not really a great option. And for gamers, I mean, Intel has tons of market share, so maybe they don't care, but I think it would behoove them to be more accessible because if you're building a budget build, either you get the G3258 or you buy AMD. That's just what you do because AMD lets you overclock anything because they want you to just buy their stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't really understand why Intel doesn't want to offer K versions of some of those cheaper chips. But you know, it's their choice. All right, next bit of news. Another juggernaut in the industry, Nvidia. They had a record earning report. They actually surprised their investors. So last year, the same period last year for their fourth quarter in the fiscal year, they earned $35 or 35 cents per share, which is pretty normal. Nice, slow, steady growth. This year, they earned 52 cents per share, which is a massive jump. They had a revenue of $1.26 billion with a gross margin of 57.5%. So basically, AMD is making money hand over fist, and it does not matter that they kind of lied about the memory in the GTX 970. We all still bought them, and they're making lots of money.
It hurt them ever so briefly for like 30 days.
They've probably made more money off their Tegra chips than off of anything related to gaming graphics, I would assume. Because, like, you know, how many graphics cards do they sell? Maybe like a couple million in the past year. How many smartphones were sold with Tegra chips in them? I mean, maybe Snapdragon's taking that over now, but still.
Yeah, not as many Tegra chips.
Not as many anymore, but still, like they make so many other things that have their chips in them that I would be very, very surprised if desktop graphics are a huge moneymaker for them. Now, licensing chipsets and stuff for other things, you know, probably more. Now, my version of Firefox has been frozen for about 2 minutes now, so I can't actually read any of the show notes because I'm on a different tab.
I had a quick Nintendo rumor.
Of course you did.
That's my role. I've accepted it. So apparently that's been rumored to be able to run Unreal 4 engine.
I like that all of your Nintendo rumors are with, so apparently.
It's apparently
there's
somebody.
high in the sky. Yeah, no, all right, so sorry, Unreal Engine 4.
And Unity, but I mean, Unity.
Well, my phone can run Unity.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Is that like the whole rumor is just it can run Unreal Engine 4?
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be able to run, according to rumors, some of the more intense indie style games that are on the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what that would be. I mean, Ethan Carter would probably be on the upper end of what it could run. No Man's Sky, maybe.
Yeah, because Unreal Engine 4 doesn't necessarily mean it's incredibly demanding. Like, it's a very modern engine that can be, but that doesn't mean the games are going to look good.
Well, the words were graphically demanding, so we'll see.
Again, what does that mean?
I didn't write the story. I didn't write the rumor.
No, I know. I mean, there's plenty of Wii U games, though, if you ran them at 60 FPS and 1080p, like, they'd be plenty graphically demanding and they'd look beautiful. So, I mean, James, I understand what they're saying.
I could believe that you're writing these, actually, like, every week. Just, these are my hopes and my dreams. I'm
expecting one of them to be. So, apparently, Nintendo is actually excited about this when they think they might have a winner on their hands. I bet there's somebody at Nintendo trying to put out rumors. Tell them it'll have games. Tell them it'll have games from other people.
It'll be the most innovative one yet.
Well, I've no doubt it'll probably be the most innovative one. If that's a good thing or not, we'll see. They're like, you know those tablets people liked 3 years ago? What if we had a really bad one? No one's ever done that before.
That's right.
Innovation. Dave, what is the next item on the list? I'm going to do this blind.
Ghost Games is trying to do right by PC gamers. And this one's yours, I'm going to assume. Because I can't. Yeah.
Ghost Games is the developers of Need for Speed. And when it came out, or when they announced a lot of the features for console, they announced things like, oh, you know, it's coming out. The PC version will come out at the same time as the console versions. It'll have a locked frame rate at 30 FPS. It'll have no wheel support, blah, 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 blah. And they were announcing like, hey, PC gamers, we haven't done anything for you. They really just announced the features it did have. And people were like, wait a second. Why 30 FPS? Why, you know, is it going to support high resolutions? Why can't we use wheels? Why are there no manual transmissions? Console people didn't know any different and still bought the game. Some of them complained about the manual transmissions, but that's it. So Ghost Games delayed the game until the spring and said, okay, you want all this stuff? We will give it to you. Give us some time. So, you know, EA's been saying they want to, their whole mentality now is players first. with EA, you kind of want to make them prove it. Like, it's kind of like Microsoft saying this time they're really going to treat the PC gamers right. Like, I mean, maybe you are, but I have a hard time really getting on board with that. But Ghost Games, to their credit, they have really been dropping, like, they've pulled out the stops in the past week or two. Did either of you guys play Underground, the original Underground?
No.
Okay.
A little bit.
The most iconic song is Get Low by Lil Jon. And you can look the song up if you want to hear it.
Or you could sing it for us.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, should I try to sing a couple bars? I probably should not. Do you know it, James? Could you sing it?
No, I don't. No.
Okay. It's a very, very iconic song for the franchise. And like a week ago, one of the developers tweeted out just to the windows, or no, to get low, 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 low. And I think it tweeted then to the windows, to the walls. And people got super excited because those are the very well-known lyrics from that song. They're like, maybe they're adding the song to the game. Who knows if they are, but they debuted the PC trailer, the PC exclusive trailer, a couple days later, and it used Get Low. It had a pre-order bonus of the E46 M3 from Need for Speed Most Wanted, which is most people's favorite Need for Speed game from the tuner era, and their favorite car from that Need for Speed game because it's the hero car. They said there are now manual transmissions, completely unlocked frame rate, 4K support, textures, everything.
Man.
It will support steering wheels, and they have a big list of steering wheels that it supports. And then they released their minimum requirements and recommended requirements, which is normal. But, and I think this is the first time this has happened, they said minimum requirements are for 720p, 30 FPS low settings. Recommended requirements are for 1080p, max settings, 60 FPS. I don't think anyone has ever done that. Dave, can you open up the link and read them off? Because I do not remember. I think for 720p 30 FPS, you need to have an i3 4130 dual core, so a hyper-threaded dual core. You need to have 6 gigs of RAM. You need to have a 750 Ti or a Radeon 7850. So it'll probably run on slightly worse systems than that, but they say if you want to play at 720p 30 FPS, you need this. And then recommended, I believe, is probably an i5 or an i7.
4690.
4690K. All right, so an i5, how much RAM?
8 gigs of RAM, GTX 970 for the graphics card, or a Radeon R9 290, and 30 gigs of hard drive space.
That's
Nice.
really impressive. No one, as far as I know, has ever done that for the recommended and minimum requirements for a game.
It's funny though, like what they used, not 720p, but like usually I just assume low is like 1080p 30-ish, and then high is like 1080p 60.
1080p is not a resolution a lot of people live with, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean, you kind of assume, but it's interesting to know what they're assuming. And I'm sure the game is going to run a little bit better than that. But that's very interesting. What do you guys think about that? Is that a trend you'd like to see continue? And do you put any faith
Yes,
in
I would
the
like
stuff?
to see companies make their games better when they kind of suck.
Well, no, not that. The recommended.
The recommendation. Yeah, that'd be great.
Do you put any trust in it, or do you think the game's going to run better than that?
I do actually.
I don't put any trust in that.
The
Yeah,
potato
I
masher
do.
is only, the GPU is like 20% better than their minimum GPU. Just
And
throwing that out there.
you think it's going to be just 20% better?
No,
quality?
I think it's
No.
going to play it at 1080p, at least 30 FPS, at least medium settings. If it doesn't, I will do something embarrassing on the podcast. I don't know. But I think it's going to be better than that. But I like that they have at least a baseline.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with their turnaround there. Like that's putting your money where your mouth is for sure. Like checking off that list, that's good stuff.
Now, I'm really conflicted now. Listeners of the show will know my opinion of,
Heartbreak.
yes, of the latest Need for Speed game. But their latest patch added like over 100 new visual pieces. Like every patch, they've been adding in all the stuff that should have been in the game to start with. But they've been adding more and more visual customization, which is the whole reason I was buying it. When I bought the PS4 version. They've added tons of that. They've tuned the handling so that supposedly the grip version of the handling presets isn't an understeering boat now. So those two things combined with the fact that at 60 FPS, the input lag on the controls will be half, which is something I'm very interested in because I felt like the input lag was about 6.5 seconds is what it felt like. But that coupled with being able to use a steering wheel, I'm very, very tempted to buy it again on PC.
You're going
as
to
soon
buy
as
it
comes
again.
out.
There's no temptation. It's going to happen.
I'm very tempted.
Are you just going to play it on your main rig?
I mean, I do a potato masher test.
Potato mash time.
I should have known. You
What
were
a
smiling.
setup. What a setup.
Because you missed it a minute ago.
I did.
And so you wanted to, yeah,
Yep.
thanks. Because also that rumor that Forza and Halo and Gears of War might be coming to Windows 10 exclusively on the Microsoft Store. And that's a rumor with a lot of credibility behind it.
Well, I mean,
So-
I actually had forgotten to add a news item. They announced that if you buy Quantum Break, you get it. If you buy it on
On both
Xbox, you get the
platforms.
PC copy for free.
Mhm.
And they say they plan on doing that with a lot more games in the future, where you do a cross buy.
And they've got an event on the 25th, I believe, where Microsoft's going to be talking about the future of Xbox and PC gaming, which everyone assumes to be. They're going to talk about the Xbox for 90% of the time, then talk briefly about how Halo will be cross saves or something, and then leave. Or no, not Halo, Fable. I feel like it's always Fable. But maybe this time they mean it. It's Microsoft. Who knows?
One day.
Honestly, Microsoft in the last year has completely turned their game around.
They've
as
turned
far as-
Xbox around.
Right, but
On the PC, not so much.
I mean, it's got a little ways to go.
It has a bit to go, but on Xbox they have been killing it. So I will give them credit where it's due. I think they mean it, and I'm very interested to see what they've got
as
in
a company
store.
too. I mean, they gave away Windows 10 to 7 and 8 users. I mean,
It's in their best interest to do that.
I know, but that's not something they've done in the past.
No, you're very right. It is.
I mean, they would charge like $100 and some to get the next copy of Windows, which is insane.
Although I believe isn't Windows 10 isn't that their most used system now? I mean, or is still Windows 7? It's overtaken Windows 8. I know, and 8.1, but I know Windows 10, the whole give it away thing has definitely paid off for them. It is working. It's doing what they want. So, I'll be honest, if Forza comes to the PC and Need for Speed supports wheels, I am buying a steering wheel. I haven't spent any YouTube money in like the last couple months just because there hasn't been anything I really wanted to spend it on that bad. I will most definitely buy a steering wheel if that's the case.
You need to get
Nice.
like a something to suspend up in the upstairs in front of the big screen that can like
Oh.
rotate and stuff.
Yeah,
Like a
that's the
driving
second part.
capsule.
As I'm definitely going to want to play it on the projector, but my computer's not up there. But yeah, that would be a ton of fun.
Sorry, John. Just had to happen.
Okay. It's now time for the Singularity Shame segment of the part of the podcast where we talk about something that somebody done messed up with. Dave, I believe this is your item.
Is it time, Jeremiah, to once again feature the adventures of the Battlefield franchise and Electronic Arts for this section? Is it time?
What do you got for us, Dave?
Do you guys remember way back in the day when Battlefield Hardline came out? The fun, fast-paced spin-off of the Battlefield franchise that also had the premium version that I think 4 people bought? Anyone buy that?
We've talked about it. I honestly couldn't tell you much about it because I don't own the game.
Well, folks, if you purchase Battlefield Hardline Premium in March of 2015, along the bullet points that went on the box were features like you get, top of the line when you're waiting to join a server, which is not an issue because there's like 3 people on all servers in total. There's no lines at all. But also, one of the bullet point features was something called Gun Bench. And literally for almost a year now, no one has even known what Gun Bench is. In a previous EA shooter, the last Medal of Honor, the reboot, it had a really cool gun customization bench that you could go into before, I think, even the single player missions. And you could like take all the accessories and parts off the gun and change all kinds of stuff, but like in a really realistic way. And it had like a cool background. It looks like you were actually like in the armory prepping for the mission. It was really, really cool. So everyone just kind of assumed, oh, maybe it's like a really cool weapon customization thing like Medal of Honor. But for 11 months now, no one has actually known. Well, today we know Gun Bench is finally coming, along with the last Battlefield Hardline DLC called Betrayal. I was telling Joel, apparently these DLCs have like a connected story to them.
They have single player content?
No. Like there's like a theme, like you're following some crew or something in the DLCs, and now like your crew's made it off with the loot, but there's a betrayal. So the betrayal DLC.
So it's multiplayer consistent storyline stuff?
It's super vague. I think it's connected. I don't know. I just find that interesting. Like I don't think any other Battlefields have done that. They've stuck to like
for
just
good
themes.
reason.
Is it like GTA-ish? Is it GTA-ish? Where you kind of have like a little bit of a story when you're playing together?
Not even that much. No.
Huh.
Yeah. It has a name and like a description that flows from one to the next, I think is all it is. But anyway, Gunbench. It is, in fact, a shooting range, not just for customization, but it's a shooting range where you can personalize up to 5 primary weapons with new sights, colors, camos, and fine control over the wear and tear of your weapons. So I guess you can pick brand new, like factory new or used. And then you can also edit up to 16 uniforms for your favorite class and faction. So that's probably 4 uniforms per 4 of the 4 classes. And it shows up in multiplayer matches. I'm looking here though. Only 5 weapons. The game has tons of guns. I'm not sure why there's a limit. It seems very arbitrary. Same with uniforms, maybe because the uniforms are a little bit crowded already. But of course, the example that they show is like a tie-dye shotgun with a yellow barrel, and the guys
they're going, please, let's be Counter-Strike, please. We're like Counter-Strike. Come play us, please.
And then once you customize your guns, you can take them out onto this shooting range. How much time do you guys think people are going to spend on this?
If you're a YouTuber doing weapon reviews, a lot of time.
Ooh, savagery. I think even the YouTube community has forgotten about Hardline. I mean, honestly, first of all, this is far too late to be of any use for the most hardcore Hardline players still left. I don't care if you're playing Hardline.
The most hard line of the players.
I was trying to avoid that, but there it is. I mean, you'd have to be playing this game a lot to get any mileage out of this feature now. This is far too late. And does anyone else think that this was an idea when they threw it on the back of the premium box and sold it for 11 months? It was an idea on paper.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Don't pay full price money for content that hasn't been made yet. Unless you're like Dave or James and you want to really support the developers and you trust them. But you really shouldn't trust the people making Battlefield right about now.
Not anymore.
I rarely pay full price for anything.
That's true.
Also true for me. But yeah, I was just honestly very surprised that Gunbench was actually going to be a thing. I was expecting maybe a few months from now them to be like, sorry guys, there were some issues with the design of Gunbench. Here's a voucher for Plants vs. Zombies. That's what I was expecting to happen.
I honestly, it's not like it's that amazing of a feature. Like if they were saying, oh, and also with premium, they'll be coming a build your own map thing. Like, okay, maybe you wait for a while, but a feature that lets you play with your gun and look at the attachments and stuff, like you can do in multiplayer when you're picking your loadout. You can do everything except shoot it. If you want to shoot it, you hit escape twice until you're in the game, and then you can shoot it at stuff. Like, what is Gunbench? I'm curious, what is Gunbench adding that's that different
that
from what
doesn't have?
Well, that's that different from what's already in the game.
Yeah, let's talk about the scroll bar in our Arma 3 Arsenal that you can get for free.
We call it the Barbie box for a reason. The Arsenal is the greatest thing if you're into military gear at all. The list of guns you can scroll through, there are variations of guns that I'm not even sure exist, but they're in Arma 3. And
so they probably do because someone modded them very carefully to be real.
And we don't even have that many of the gun packs. We just have a couple of the most popular ones. So
yeah. Arsenal and Arma is like, if you ever played G.I. Joe as a kid, like this is the grown-up version. I mean, you can customize magazine pouches, accessories on your gun, sights, bipods, foregrips. You can change the backpacks, your uniform, all that stuff. And to see Hardline, like you were asking, Jeremiah, what's the purpose of this? Really, all it is offering outside of the multiplayer itself is the ability to do custom skins, like custom colors on your uniform. Like that's the only real standalone feature. I mean, like you said, you can just test your guns right there in game. You can change your accessories right there in game, and it's faster. So,
do you think it's more or less a way to show that they still care about the game? They still support it? I know they're making the DLC, but We care about the customers.
I think it's just obligation. I mean, the bullet point was there. They had to do something.
Yeah. I don't know. But moving on, it's mail time.
Is it?
Come on, James, sing the
Mail
song.
time.
All right, we'll take it. You can write into the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like Cody did. Cody wrote in and said, "Love the latest podcast, guys." This was sent in last week, but Joel just read the notes.
Yeah,
I
let's
put into
talk
the doc.
about that. Joel.
Now, Joel, if you're listening to this, it's okay. We
No.
did not go
I
over
asked
this.
him beforehand if I could
Okay.
rip on him. He said sure.
Okay.
Actually, give my
Go ahead.
thumbs up. So rip away.
I put in the notes. I put in the notes a couple notes about what the subject line and the people who wrote the mail would be, so Joel would know. Well, he just read those and didn't read the mail. The part I thought was the best was when he said, "And Cody wants a T-shirt and thoughts on the Division." So Joel starts giving his thoughts on a beta he has not played.
I said, well, considering none of us have played it.
And I know that was just Joel was trying to roll with it, and he saw like, "Ooh, that's kind of a problem." But Joel's a smooth operator. Was like, "That's all right. We'll talk about it. That's fine." Jeremiah put it in here. Joel wanted to do a good job hosting. Like he didn't want it to be an issue. He just rolled straight into it. I appreciate that very much. But we're actually going to read those two emails that came in last week. We're going to go ahead and read them this week. So Cody wrote in and said, "Love the latest podcast, guys, but I have to say, why isn't there a 'I hate the ocean is bullshit' t-shirt with James' face on it? I would pay good money for that."
I have
Also-
an ocean is bullshit of the week.
Of the
the
week.
way.
All right, we'll get to that. Oh, is that going to be a segment of the podcast?
Oh, it's really quick.
Okay, well, we'll get to that right after this email. I've been on the fence about the Division, but I think I may give it a try after watching you guys on YouTube play it and then talk about it on the podcast. I might even run into a wild, loot-craved Dave in the Dark Zone. One
It's
can only
likely.
hope. Keep it casual,
I
guys.
hope you're looking behind stuff and in shadows. Where Dave will probably be.
If there's any kind of like vegetation, like a park area with like bushes, just check in the bushes. That's where I am.
Now, it's time for the next segment, which is The Ocean is Bullshit with James. What do you got for us?
So I read a story this week. It was perfect. Where's the story at? Can't find the story right now. Oh, here it is. The Great Barrier Reef. I'll read the headline. Great Barrier Reef is infected with herpes-like virus. So not only is the ocean just bullshit because of the little things crawling around and just things with no eyes and stuff and jellyfish, you can now get herpes from going in the ocean. I mean,
A
come on.
herpes-like virus. It might be
Herpes.
a new, exciting virus that we haven't even seen yet.
I
It could
can't
be
wait-
a
can't wait for
civilization
the sores on
ending.
that
Which
one.
is funny because you like space where it's like, I got a pinprick in my clothes. So I froze to death and exploded through a hole the size of a micron today. That was fun.
But I can see everything.
You can't. What if there's no light? What if you're in the dark side of the earth?
I would have a flashlight. Did you say the dark side of the earth?
Like if
I mean, we have a dark side of the earth. It's called
Right.
nighttime.
Yeah,
turn
it's
on
outside
lights
right
here.
now.
So if you're on that side of the earth when you're in space. Okay, the dark side of the moon. Would you rather be on that? I was trying to avoid the cliche. I don't know.
That's a good album.
Oh my gosh. There is a side of the earth that is currently dark. That's what I was referring to. James, can we make it a
Flashlight.
Patreon goal for us to do a live commentary of one of the Planet Earth Deep Ocean episodes?
Absolutely.
I would
Have you
love
watched,
that.
Are you able to watch one of those, or is that going to be too?
No, I mean,
are you
I'm
gonna be
not
too
like-
angry?
I'm not
It's
afraid of
traumatizing.
it. I just would never go into
You have a
it.
strong dislike for
I-
most aspects of it.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. Our next bit of mail.
And I misspoke last week. I probably wouldn't slap a seal back in the ocean because they're actually pretty cute.
Seals are nice, and you don't want them to have to be in the ocean.
I mean, I would pull them out. I mean, I'd probably like pull all the mammals out of the water. mean,
Oh, all the
Get the
mammals get to live.
dolphins and the whales.
I kind of want to
come
piggyback
to
a
the
segment.
land.
What about the cute fish?
I could take them or leave them.
Okay.
So they just kind of go. I don't
I'm very
care.
tempted at this point to piggyback a segment on James's segment called that space is not the final frontier, but space is the final nightmare. the horrible things in space, just to make James angry.
Space, the final nightmare. Written like a true Republican. There's too much learning out there. I don't see any oil. All right. Our next bit of mail is from Sherbets.
There's a diamond planet, by the way.
Hello. Can James cover the podcast intro music? You asked for recommendations on what songs you could cover.
I don't even know what that means. I'm gonna do boom, 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 boom.
Maybe the acapella version. I'd like to hear that.
Okay.
All right. Quantum writes in Quantum of Infinity.
No, we gotta mention this too.
Yes.
Quantum wrote in last week.
Yes.
And when Joel got to that point, he read the in parentheses thing out loud too, not just the Quantum Infinity with thoughts on Nvidia GameWorks. He put, this one's kind of long, so you might want to wait till next week. Joel read that out loud on the podcast. That was fantastic.
And that's where you finally realize, like, wait, something's wrong here.
Like, especially because it's Quantum. Like, Dave and I both been interviewed for
Well, he
his
didn't
channel.
realize he
like,
wasn't
he's a
reading
really
the emails.
Nice guy.
He just realized he wasn't supposed to read the parentheses stuff.
Okay. We'll come up with a code for next time. Like, I'll make it like really bold and red.
Don't read this part.
I'll make it like really light gray. All right, Quantum here again. Today I wanted to write a serious email, but I don't want this mail to be unnecessarily long. Well, I'm sorry, Quantum, but I mean, you're at like 300 words here. So I recently
That's a
watched
college paper.
What college did you go to? I recently watched Dave's video about the new Nvidia Flex system in Fallout 4. And this reminded me of how much I hate proprietary technologies, not only from Nvidia, but from whatever company. I mean, I feel like this Nvidia GameWorks and the AMD Open GPU things are just marketing bullcrap, and I'll give you an example. I bought a 980 Ti thanks to my recommendations on the Tech Podcast. I immediately decided to check some of the new features like Hairworks. I have to admit it looked nice, but I also love smooth 60 FPS whenever I can achieve it. I at once noticed that I had much lower FPS even though there was only Geralt with his glorious beard and nothing else that uses Hairworks on screen.
That's all you need.
Sorry, but WTF. So much FPS penalty for just so little or sometimes no improvement? I would understand the penalty when I fight with an enemy that has this technology, but not when there is nothing. And those debris in Fallout 4, oh, for the love of God, I feel like this could be implemented in-engine and it could be agnostic to the hardware. And it is like this for me with every PhysX or GameWorks title right now. This is embarrassing. The Metro series, Borderlands 2, Fallout 4, and a few more titles. All of those games that have PhysX, they mostly use it for a few extra particles that in my opinion look like crap and the performance penalty is not justified. I agree with most of this so far. When AGEA had PhysX, it looked impressive, and when Nvidia took it, it looks to me like another marketing bullet point on a box instead of a useful technology. And the fact that it mostly runs like crap on AMD makes it even worse. You're penalized for having different hardware than the GPU it is meant to be played on. And I'll leave other things connected with the whole GameWorks. I don't like AMD GPU Open either, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt because those libraries are open at least compared to Nvidia. So in summary, GameWorks is just a minor and not a major improvement to the visuals as a whole package, and many of those effects could be implemented in the engine agnostic of hardware if the developers were not lazy. Now, I will disagree with that part. They implement them the way they do because they want to differentiate their hardware and make you want to spend extra for an NVIDIA card because you want to have those features. And for some people, it's absolutely worth it. I'm not one of those people.
For the game devs, NVIDIA hands you a complete, resource-intensive software package with instructions and developers to help you implement it. It's free features, basically. Like
it's kind of like a medical. Like a pharmacy sales rep giving you free samples, though. Like,
yeah. Like in the area of Fallout, like they didn't have room on their development schedule to add a bunch of particle-based physics for the PC version only. Like that's not on the schedule. But if Nvidia says, "Hey, I've got 3 developers here that can help you implement it into your game. Can you help us out? And we'll help you out." Why not? Everybody wins. And when it comes to all the proprietary AMD and Nvidia stuff, my position's always been the same. Performance cost is too much, sure, but it's cutting edge technology in most cases. And what's cutting edge today and proprietary today is going to be common features tomorrow. So it's good in that it does push the boundaries of what can be done. Even if it's locked down, those kind of features are going to be more common in the future. We're going to see more debris and more hairworks and stuff like that.
My issue with it is that, I mean, you guys would probably agree. Like he says, it's not like this couldn't be done on other hardware, most likely. Because, I mean, people have figured out how to reverse engineer Hairworks and make it work on AMD GPUs, and they figured out how to make it work faster if you want to. Like, you can make it run faster on either NVIDIA or AMD. It's not like the Nvidia GameWorks stuff is
all
no
that money
performance
there for that
impact.
little box you can click.
Yeah. But like if there was no performance hit and it was like a real bonus to use an Nvidia card, fine. But it's really a massive performance hit for a technology that, like Dave said, is cool, it's cutting edge, but there's no reason it has to be locked down to this particular card other than they want to make money back on their investment, which I totally understand. But it makes me not really want to use a lot of those features because I like performance, and so far most of them are cool, but like once I'm playing The Witcher, I mean, it's cool like when the wolves have hair on them and stuff, but it's not cool when you get into a battle and there's things with hair nearby and all of a sudden the frame rate starts chugging. Like if you can always leave that much performance overhead, then it doesn't matter. But I don't know, I like to push things pretty hard and I don't like having the 30% performance hit anytime I get around something with a lot of hair on it. So, not really worth it to me.
But for me, as soon as I saw Geralt's beard floating in the wind, I bought 2 graphics cards.
That's perfectly fine. Now, this next email is from Michael. He wrote into the Casual Shenanigans Tech podcast, just like you can, where Dave and I will answer your PC build questions. And he said, "Hello, I bought a Dell XPS 8700 last year to have a computer to start playing video games. I should have done more research before buying a computer because it's barely able to run games such as Fallout 4 at a decent FPS at low to medium quality. My question is, what parts of my PC should I look into upgrading, and if so, what should I get? I'd like to be able to play AAA games at pretty good FPS at medium and high quality. Here are my specs." Now, this is a Dell XPS, which is their gaming entertainment computers. This is a desktop. This is supposed to be able to play games. It has Windows 10. It has an i7 4790, not a 4790K, but the locked 4790. 8 gigs of DDR3, a 1 terabyte Seagate hard drive, a DVD burner, 460 watt power supply, and a GeForce GT 720, which is the type of graphics card you buy if you don't have integrated graphics on your motherboard. And
I want 2 monitors. I'll get this card.
Yeah, like it's
actually, I mean, at this point, you just use USB to.
Yeah, like there's really
HDMI.
no reason to own one of these unless you have no way of displaying graphics other than this. So, yeah, your problem is 100% the graphics card. That is a absolute joke of a graphics card, and I have no idea why they put it in there. So what we recommended that
Pour
you should
coffee on it. Take it out and pour coffee on it. Then buy a new card.
It's the only option. That's true.
And then our recommendation, I believe, on the Tech Podcast was buy a GTX 950 because you can buy them for $150 to about $175.
Well, did he give a budget?
He didn't. So I'm assuming he wants to. I mean, he probably spent $600 or $700 on this computer.
I mean,
so
but if he really wants to get that gaming experience,
he said AAA games at pretty good FPS at medium high quality. So a GTX 950 will definitely do that.
I mean, 960 is not that much more.
It's barely a performance bump, though. I mean, I agree with you that it. I would say though, if you want to get a performance bump, you should go from the 950 to the 970. I don't
What's the
think
difference
960
between
is enough of a bump.
how would you compare the 950, 960 to the 380X? Because I've been seeing those a lot lately for $199.
The 960 and the 380X are pretty similar as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
But the 950 is going to be a little bit slower. But the 950 is only like 10, 15% slower than the 960.
Right.
So for that, just buy a 950 and do a basic overclock. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Or bump up to the 970. There's a deal right now for a reference cooler 970 with a copy of The Division after a coupon code and rebate from Newegg for $250.
Nice.
So, I mean, if you've been thinking about buying The Division, especially, that'll get you into that territory. So, the only thing we told him he needs to check is make sure his graphics card, or make sure his power supply has a PCI Express connector for his graphics card to make sure it has that PCI Express rail.
If he goes with the 970, those he's going to be pretty close to the maximum wattage of the i7.
It'd be totally fine. There are pre-builts being sold. I think Alienware sells one, which has a 980 and a 430 watt power or 450 watt power supply. So
that's pretty impressive.
Why did they go so low?
Because that's really all you need. Most people have total overkill on their power supplies. Now, if he was able to overclock this processor, it'd be a little bit of a different story, but it's a locked processor, so its power consumption is not going to jump by 20 or 30%.
So if he buys a 950 and overclocks it, how many watts is he looking at for the overclock?
Not that much more. I bet the entire rig pulls barely over 300 at full load.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that bad. I was running two 970s on a 650 watt power supply, and it was totally fine. All right. Next thing is from Slow P. Slow P wrote in about the side scrollers you guys talked about last week. Hey, gents, I had to write in quickly to say I enjoyed the last podcast about side scrollers. Although it probably doesn't appeal to many of your listeners, this is definitely my cup of tea. I'm a big retro gamer. This is my corner of the house where I go to escape.
You go, man.
On the bookshelves, I have quite a few side scrollers that were mentioned in the podcast. NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo, Neo Geo, Master System, etc., all accounted for. The PC is the one you guys directly inspire me to build. The Witcher is incredible. I have 40 plus hours invested already. Then he has an arcade cab.
Quarter of the way done.
Quarter? That's generous.
He has an arcade cabinet with thousands of games in it, so I guess it's like a one-off custom thing. That's nice.
Send us your address.
Immediately.
That's really cool, though. That's awesome. We helped him with a build on the Casual Shenanigans Tech Podcast. Helped a lot of these people with builds. You guys should go check out Casual Shenanigans Check.
Helps him out. Yeah.
And then lastly,
was that the end of the email?
Yes.
Okay.
But Chuck wrote in, and Chuck said, "Hey, my 12-year-old nephew decided he wanted to build a new computer, and he came to me for advice. He's interested in computers and loves PC gaming. He wanted his own PC, so he didn't have to share time on the family PC, and he wanted to learn more about computers. That is very ambitious for a 12-year-old.
That was definitely me, though. How young, Jeremiah, did you start like tinkering with your computer?
I was helping my dad install Windows 98 on his work computers probably at age 8. And then I think I was 10 or 11 when I did my first full reinstall. And then I think 13, 14, I started doing like hard drives and memory. So
I'm basically right along there with you. But the real question is, how old were you when you got your first blue screen?
I mean,
4.
I was installing Windows 98, so...
While installing it then.
Yeah.
I had my son helping me last night with the putting the CPU fan back on.
Nice.
He was talking about all the different parts inside. It was fun.
Sweet. Start him young. I mean, not just as a little saying that people say start him young, but really should start them young. That way they are self-sufficient computer users that can take care of their own junk later in life. I think you should also start people young, helping you start them, show them how to change the oil, show them how to change a tire, stuff like that. Do it while he's young.
Replace the airbags.
Or just buy a Civic and then just don't worry about it.
That's not how car maintenance works.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes, Dave, that is why you had problems.
You look at your car and you see, it's a Civic, it just runs. I look at your car and I'm like, oh my goodness, so much of this needs attention right now.
And yet
James,
it's still going.
Now, to be fair, his Accord, he's never thought is an amazing car. But I was walking up to his Accord 2 weeks ago, and I was like, something doesn't look right. He has different length lug nuts. His lug nuts are all mix and match. From what? No one knows.
Did you go and buy your own, or did it come from did they have to cut off the...
I have no idea. It came like that.
Or what?
Although now that I know how much that bothers Jeremiah, I'm thinking about, before I get rid of that Accord, what else I can mismatch on it just to freak him out.
I mean, I don't know if you should be doing that to bother me, given its really massive potential safety issues. But then I asked him, I wanted to double check the torque and make sure he hasn't been driving around with loose lug nuts. But Dave, Mr. Just Buy a Honda and It Works, did not know where his spare tire was.
Which car was it?
Have a spare tire?
The Accord.
Oh, I don't drive the Accord.
Do you know where the spare tire is in the Honda?
I do actually know that I have one back there, yes.
Because that's where they all are on all cars.
Yeah.
But
I just never looked in the Accord.
But you've owned it for years and you didn't know where the wrenches were. You didn't know where the wrenches were, Dave.
But now I know.
I
got such a great deal. I got free wrenches with the car.
That's like when you show your aunt how to do something on the computer and she's like, you can copy and paste stuff? And you're like, how do you use this?
you copy and paste. You're like, wait, go back. What did you just do? How do I do that? Back up.
It's really irritating to me to watch people use a computer that don't use shortcuts.
Yes.
I mean, just something as simple as Control-C. When people don't do that, they're like, highlight it and then go up and click, edit. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Somebody a year ago, they didn't know you could shift select multiple things. They needed to get like 40 things out of a folder.
Oh my gosh.
And they were right-click cutting and pasting one at a time.
No.
I was like, you get paid like a decent amount of money.
No.
And I'd like to know how much money your employer has paid for you to not know how to do that. Anyway, back to Chuck's email. So his nephew wanted his own PC, so he didn't have to share time on the family PC, and he wanted to learn more about computers. So I told him about the potato masher, and he ran with it. He didn't have much of a budget because he's 12. He saved up for 5 months and got some money for Christmas and had a budget of $250. I told him if he got the motherboard, CPU, and RAM, I could provide the rest from extra parts I have left over in my garage collecting dust. I was going to email you guys for the tech show and ask for some build advice, but I never got around to it before he had the parts sorted out. All right, this is for everyone who says that the potato masher is just too hard and unrealistic for people to do. This 12-year-old who's never built a computer before sourced the parts himself and surprisingly was able to get a used i5-750 and a used Intel 1156 motherboard from Amazon. He bought the CPU, cooler, motherboard, RAM, mouse, and keyboard for $220 total.
Holy cow.
Take that,
He did all that research by himself?
I provided the case, which coincidentally was a Cooler Master Wave Master, which is the Potato Masher's original case. From an old rig I retired years ago. The power supply was a 500-watt EVGA PSU from the same rig. The GPU was a GTX 660, which was in my current system until I replaced it with a 970 last year. The Windows license was a Windows 7 retail key I wasn't using anymore. Gosh, this sounds so plausible. I bought him a new 1TB hard drive for $50. He ended up with an i5-750, the stock 1156 cooler, an Intel DP55 motherboard, 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM, a GTX 660, a 500-watt power supply, and a 1TB hard drive. This gives him there's room for improvement, of course, but that gives him opportunity to upgrade later when he has the budget for it. For now, it runs his games extremely well. Thanks for creating the Potato Masher and showing that you can build a decent gaming PC without spending a ton of money. Regards, Hutch.
We should send him we should send him a Steam code or something.
Oh, I should. Yeah, I've got...
We can't send him a Witcher key, but...
Yeah, I've got a Witcher and Grand Theft Auto 5 keys. No, yeah, Chuck, I'm going to send you an email back, but if you hear this before I send you an email... get in touch with me. I'll send you, or I guess I'd have to friend your nephew on Steam if you want to arbitrate that as a responsible adult. That'd be fine. But we'll send him a game key or two because that's really awesome.
Just for not calling you a liar.
I mean, if maybe we can find a humble bundle or something.
Yeah, I have loads of games in my inventory,
and then we can just send the code.
So that's true.
Be friendly.
No, actually, humble bundles they link to your Steam account now.
No, they don't.
Really?
They did it for like a very short time, and then they went back to keys again.
It's still an option.
That's when I stopped using
humble
bundles.
But it's not a requirement.
Cool. Yeah, I don't really have a chip on my shoulder anymore about people who think the Potato Masher is all a big lie.
Time.
I don't really have a chip on my shoulder, but it is really nice to see stuff like that. Like, you know why this kid was able to do it? Because he didn't have a big budget and he had some time to think about it.
Because he believed really, really hard.
But no, a 12-year-old who never built a computer was able to source the two hardest parts, which would be the old processor and old motherboard. He was able to source them for a little bit more than I paid, but not that much more. This is very doable, and it runs his games extremely well. And there is a new PC gamer now, just because he believed. So
nice.
That's awesome, and I'm really happy for him.
He's getting a good start. That's how you do it.
All right, that is all of the mail. Now, Dave, before we move on to what are you playing this week, someone mentioned in chat, I thought you might want to talk about this. Do you want to talk about the Fallout 4 DLC that's been announced real quick?
Yeah, I'll talk about it briefly. Yeah, because that's actually got some interesting points to it. Right now, you can buy the Fallout 4 Season Pass, which is all the DLC, for $30. As of March 1st, it's going to, well, let me actually not talk about the price first. Let's talk about what the DLCs that are currently announced are going to be. There's a $5 crafting mod, which that's the one that adds the kind of like arena stuff, right, James? Like you can capture animals and make fighting pits, and it has...
Yeah, you can either have them, I think they can work for you, or they can fight each other. I don't know.
animal training and
you can
capturing.
tame them, or you can have them fight. That's what
Exactly. And some people on Reddit have kind of taken apart the one screenshot that we have of it, and there's like new tiles and generators and stuff you can build, which is neat. There's a bajillion mods already for that kind of stuff, but $5, that's reasonable for the officially supported stuff. And like anything that Bethesda does, they start out with the framework, and then modders take it and run with it. And then for, I believe it was $15 if you buy it by itself, is going to be a Automatron DLC where it has like a little bit of story stuff about a like robot Automatron trainer in the Commonwealth, and something related to that DLC will allow you to create, customize, and have robot followers, like different paint jobs, weapons, different types of robots. Also neat. Also already covered by mods if you want to try the mods out early while you wait for the DLC. The Robot Home Defense mod lets you build, customize, and create robots to defend your settlements, which is pretty sweet. And the last DLC, the one that I'm actually most excited about because it's the kind of thing that mods can't do usually well or in short amounts of time, if not years, is a story-based DLC, which is, what was it called? I'm having a complete mind blank right now. But it's going to be a story-based DLC where you go on a detective mission with Detective Valentine to investigate a settlement off the coast of the Commonwealth. And I love his character anyway. Valentine's a fantastic character in Fallout 4, one of my favorites.
He's my companion, mostly because I don't know how to change companions.
You can send them on their way.
You have to crush his heart first, Jeremiah.
I don't know what that means.
When you talk to them, you can dismiss them.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So, and that one though is actually quite steep. Like it's $25 if you buy that story DLC by itself, and they haven't said how many hours that's going to be, but generally Bethesda's story DLCs are, wouldn't you say, like in the 15-hour range, James? Like 15, 18 hours? Like for 3 in New Vegas, it was somewhere around there, which is pretty good. But keep in mind that the Witcher 3 Season Pass is $25, and you get the 10 to 15-hour Hearts of Stone, and then upcoming Blood and Wine expansion pack, which is going to have at least 20 hours of content, just insanely top-tier story content. So if you buy those DLCs for Fallout 4 individually, they're going to be quite steep. So you want to get that season pass for $30. But you also want to get it soon, because on March 1st, the price increases from $30 to $60, which is a massive jump.
60 or 50?
Price. 60.
Are you sure?
95%?
Google
sure?
it just to make sure. I thought it was less than that.
I heard 60 originally. But I was also reading a secondary source, not the actual Bethesda blog. But they're also going to add more DLC as part of that. They're not just increasing the price. They're going to be, I think there's at least 2 more story-based DLCs for that extra jump in price. So yeah, that's the news for the Fallout DLCs. While James looks it up, I'll just give a couple thoughts on it. Good on them for not just
50.
increasing the price.
It's going up to 50.
That's more reasonable. I think the season pass increase, as long as there's at least one more big story DLC in there, that's an acceptable bump in price. I think that their standalone prices are honestly a bit ridiculous. I think they're really trying to push people towards the season pass, and I think that's one of the most aggressive pricing structures I've seen for that kind of thing to encourage that. It's kind of strange, actually. What do you guys think? I know, Jeremiah, you're kind of taking a break from Fallout right now, and
well, just from a DLC standpoint, I guess in an ideal world, it's because they started working on DLC after the regular game went gold, and they discovered they had so many good ideas and so many cool things they didn't want to cut content, so they decided, okay, we'll make more DLC. But then knowing that there was going to take additional manpower and resources and more money to make the extra DLC, said, okay, we should increase the price of the season pass to cover it, but we're also going to give people a lot more content. I think that's probably what happened. I mean, because Fallout 4 already has a ton of content, so it's not like I don't think they cut a bunch out necessarily.
No.
If it was certain other companies, I would be a little more skeptical of this. Of like, oh, the price is going to go up. You should buy it now before it goes up. And then they have like a whole bunch of smaller DLCs or something. Yeah, I would be very suspicious of that. But I don't think there's any reason to be suspicious of Bethesda. I think they've got good intentions. And given that all the DLC for New Vegas was very well received, I think this is probably a good sign. There'll be good content coming out for the next 2 years, probably.
Depends on what they announce at E3. honestly.
They're only talking about the 2016 DLC right now. They haven't said if the new ones are going to be 2017, but it's probably a good bet.
I'm sure that they should space them out. I mean, that's...
Now,
Which,
James,
it does remind me of something that I read today. Forgot to mention it during mail time, just because it was so new. Apparently, Bethesda is working on three long-term projects that are completely different or new for them. So I guess we'll find that out at E3 since they're making a return visit with a presentation.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that. Because they haven't come out with any like real new IP in a while, have they? I mean, Dishonored, I guess.
No, not really.
Okay.
I was going to ask James, when it came to the new Vegas DLC, do you remember if that was Obsidian or was that Bethesda doing the DLC?
I think it was
I'd assume it was Obsidian because they made the base game.
That's kind of what I was thinking, which, to be honest, I've talked about it before. After I beat Fallout 3, I never went back for the DLC. I just wasn't that invested into it. But New Vegas, I definitely went back. So, On the other hand, though, Fallout 4 is a base game. I think it is tiers upon tiers above Fallout 3. And
tiers of happiness above Fallout 3.
I mean, honestly, it's just as like if you just want to play it as an FPS, it's a better FPS than a lot of FPS games. It may have lost some of the RPG depth, but it's a really good game that's going to, I think, last a lot longer for a lot of people, me included. So, even if Bethesda...
Killer Ken did mention in the chat, I forgot this, the new map is the largest DLC map they've made.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, speaking of which, for people who are complaining that the Division's map is only Lower Manhattan, it's the same size as the Fallout 4 map. So if you're worried that the game is too small, have you seen how packed the city is?
And also, straight meter size does not always mean much.
Nothing. It means nothing.
The week before Fallout 4 came out, people did map comparisons, and the Commonwealth is smaller than the DC Wasteland in Fallout 3. It's smaller than a lot of games, but the density and quality of the content in Fallout 4, I would take any day over 3.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you go to DC, I mean, it's way more dense than the Fallout map was.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some parts didn't look anything like DC.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get to the monuments and stuff, you know, that was pretty accurate. But with Fallout 4, they did a pretty good job of trying to match up like key locations and then making the city actually just be. I'm surprised at how many locations I would hit within like 5 minutes of running through the city.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of the design of Fallout 4, if you guys are into the design of games and the artwork behind games, I've been doing a little bit of flipping through the Fallout 4 art book as I'm getting closer to the end of the story, and it's beautiful artwork. Like anyone who may call Bethesda's love of their games into question needs to read the art book. The enthusiasm and it's so good. Just reading about how they started with like current day Boston, then took it back to the 60s where Fallout's world, diverged from our actual world. And they said, okay, like in 150 years, what would a retro future Boston look like? And they kept certain monuments. They designed these certain skyscrapers a certain way. The art book is a really good look into the design of the game. It's really cool.
It's now time for What Are You Playing This Week, part of the podcast where we talk about what we are playing. James, would you like to go first?
Sure. We played a little Rocket League last night.
A little Rocket League.
Okay, we played a lot of Rocket League last night.
I thought Shane was going to punch the wall.
Our losing streak is over, though, luckily.
That's true.
I mean, we did lose a few games, but we won a bunch.
When we put Shane out in the field and I did my best to be a goalie, that's when we started winning games, is when Shane was taking it home.
Yep. That's pretty much all Shane, is what you're saying. I mean,
yeah.
We've known that. But
come off the bench, Shane. Just get out there.
I picked up the Uncharted collection.
Oh, did you? Cool.
Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, obviously they didn't do too much graphically to enhance it, but running at 60 definitely makes a difference for the game. Dave, you definitely didn't pick it. It was $19 at Redbox.
I want to get it so much so I can play through it with Dave. I just don't think he wants to take the time to come over and play through a bunch of Uncharted games on the giant projector. But Dave, you just say it. I will have it here. I will drive to Walmart and buy it like tomorrow.
Dude, find a Redbox. It's $19 used.
Like, you can buy them from any Redbox?
Check online.
Okay.
There's a way to check to see which ones sell games, but any ones that sell them, you can get it for that price. I think it's on sale right now.
All I need is an excuse.
I think that's about it.
You played a little Helldivers with us.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. A little frustrating.
Well, you kind of hopped in after we'd already been playing for a
After
few
you guys
minutes,
been
so
leveled up.
Yeah, you were trying to play catch up. Anything else?
Nope.
Dave, what about you?
I went back to The Witcher 3 for the first time after probably like 3 weeks or so, and then played for like 5 hours.
Have you gone back to Alien Isolation yet?
I've hovered over the launch button on Steam a few times.
I mean, it is at the top.
Scurried
You have
away
to
back into
go right
safety.
past it to get down to W.
Arma, literally anything else. Still playing tons of Fallout. I think I'm getting very close to the end of the story. I want to update James on where I'm at later. I don't want to spoil it on air, but story's picking up, and I'm definitely enjoying it. And I'm kind of like Joel, though. I'm really just looking forward to going back to just exploring and doing all the side stuff in the game. That's always my favorite part of the games, and looking forward to that part. Rocket League, lots of Rocket League this week. Some Battlefront with Joel on Sunday. Still really enjoying that, and I'm very excited for the upcoming Battlefront DLC. For all the crap I give EA about their Hardline DLC, I'm about to buy the season pass for Battlefront. So there's that.
How much is that going to cost you?
$60.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to say I'm actually in the mood to play some games again. I've been in a little bit of a gaming funk, which I was talking to Dave today. Part of it might have had to do with The Witcher, which I didn't really realize till recently. I think after I beat The Witcher, I didn't want to play any other real single player games. Like, they weren't really appealing to me because The Witcher's that good.
Yeah.
And I was playing multiplayer games with friends, but that was about it. But I'm playing The Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm enjoying a lot so far. It's very similar to the first one if you played the first one, except that so far there's been a lot less focus on just fighting. A lot of people had the understandable question of, hey, this is an origin story for like this teenage girl who's becoming an explorer. She turns to murder awfully fast. Like, she goes from, oh, this is so horrible, to die pigs pretty quickly.
It goes from like, oh man, is this a real gun, to like, bring on the next wave.
Yeah. So in this game, at least so far, there's been a lot more just exploring and light puzzle solving and survival stuff, and a lot less just murdering tons of people. Although I've got my poison arrows and I'm having a good time. But the story so far is pretty good.
That should be on a t-shirt.
The motion capture cutscenes are beautiful. The graphics during the cutscenes are amazing. And the game itself, like as a whole, looks really, 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 really good. I'm playing at 30 FPS, so I can have everything completely maxed out except for true hair, which I've turned off the beautiful hair stuff because her hair still looks like hair without it, and I don't really care. But everything else looks really, really good, and it's a really good game. James, I am several hours into Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
What do you think?
I am very bored.
Okay.
But I think...
Well, I didn't recommend it because of the fun factor. Well,
so I'll say this. The graphics are really, really good. The frame rate chugs a lot, and there's a weird motion blur that I don't like.
Yeah.
It makes... Was that... Okay, that's not just me? Is that...
No.
Okay.
It's...
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that, but the atmosphere, the sound work, the voice acting, the music, and the graphics are really, really good. And I am having a decently fun time wandering around the world, but I'm kind of ready for them to start showing me what the thing is. Which, does that happen?
Joel would be better to ask. He actually finished. I have not finished it yet.
Okay. So why'd you recommend it if it wasn't for the gameplay? Of which there is none.
The sound experience.
The sound experience. Okay. Well,
what
what about
just the artistic use of sound as you're moving around, and as you get closer to an event, how it uses like crescendos and like little shifts in the music to kind of, I guess, mentally or emotionally prepare you for the next part. I would love to see how they have their sound mapped out, like what triggers, like the little, proximity for triggering this sound or this, type of music. I thought that was really well done.
I'm playing on a 3.1 system, and it's very, very atmospheric. And I've actually been tempted to dig out and go ahead and hook up the surround speakers.
So you need to
just
hook
get
up
the rest of it.
That's what you need to do, or at least put your headphones on so you can. To me, I played with I liked it better with the headphones on, just because I felt more isolated.
Mm.
And
Well, but if I play it on the 3.1 system, I can use the TV, and it's a bit bigger. I think I'm enjoying just wandering around. It's a good game to kick back my feet on the couch and just relax and wander around. Like I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much sitting at my desk wearing headphones. I'm not sure. I can put on a gaming headset.
I have decent PS4 headphones, so
I've got a headset, and I don't want to use it for my PS4. Like just my regular headphones, the controller won't drive. Although I could run my controller into my headphone amp. That might actually work. I'm going to try that and see if that sounds good. I don't know if the streaming quality of the controller is that good. My assumption is it's not, but I'm going to give it a try and see what it sounds like. But I'm trying it because you recommended it, and so far it's interesting.
Like I said, I personally I wouldn't recommend it for the story. Joel got further and said it was a really good story. So
there isn't really much of a story so far.
I'm one who I love pickup stories. Like I think Bloodborne and the Dark Souls series kind of pushes it for me because it's so vague and disconnected. But stuff like BioShock and I really like just like, you know, finding the messages and the tapes and piecing it together, going backwards into the past. I do love that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
All right.
I don't know. It was an emotional experience. I mean, it wasn't like depressing or anything like that. It was just like they knew what they were doing. They knew how to make like even the little repeating radio sounds. It was just really well done.
It is, and I it's unique enough that I want to play more of it just to see if they've got anything else up their sleeve. I don't expect the gameplay to be that exciting.
Have you gone to the second? Like, have you gone past the first area to the next area or level or whatever you would call it?
I don't know. There's been some stuff happens that seems like it's a transition of sorts, but I wouldn't call
church.
I wouldn't call the area significantly different.
Have you been to a church?
I walked through one. It may not be the right one.
I mean, there's not like a major event, but there is a semi. I mean, it's
obvious.
Yeah,
you'd know.
Then I don't think I've hit that. No,
okay.
Maybe I haven't. I'm about an hour and a half, 2 hours in, maybe. Maybe I'm close to it. Who knows? But I've been playing that. I've been playing some Gauntlet, which is kind of like a slightly easier Diablo. It's decently fun so far. Fun little pickup game. It was $6 on PSN. Been playing some Helldivers, which I think is another fun pickup game with friends. You know, not blowing my mind, but it's
not going to be a long term. Everybody has to play a game, but it's good for maybe 15 playthroughs.
Yeah, it's good when you've got friends and you want to sit down and play something really quick without a lot of progression or anything. Like there's
really no connection, no involvement. Like
really no.
Hop in, grind, and leave.
But yeah, I'm having a pretty good time doing that. I'm excited to play the Division open beta this weekend. I want to play a lot of that with you guys.
I will be playing this weekend.
Sweet. That's all I've been playing. So
I actually wanted to end the segment with something else that I wanted to bring up.
Oh, let me throw in one more game that I forgot that I played.
James, go first.
Divinity Original Sin.
Okay.
I got that for the PS4
yeah, how's that?
It was on sale. It's pretty fun so far. I mean, I didn't play very much, but what I did play, I think it's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Dave.
So our Arma crew played some Arma last night, and remember, Jeremiah, we used to always have those Battlefield moments in Battlefield, just those crazy things would happen, and we keep having these Arma moments, and it's like every time we play, there's, we're taking out the bomb maker, and the A-10 drops a bomb right next to the helicopter and almost knocks us off our flight path. And our chopper takes a stinger, and we use a mountain to hide behind. We chase an SUV with an HVT in it with the miniguns and the Black Hawk. The AI A-10 pilot comes up the mountain at us, attacking the bad guys, shooting at the bad guys, and then just barely clears the trees right over you guys. There's always those Arma moments, but
those were all just last night.
yeah, it's just all last night. The mission we actually ran, that was an hour, too. That was there's so many ridiculous things that happened. But today, this morning, an event happened. A earth-shattering Arma event happened. which is probably going to consume a lot of everyone's time in the future. The Eden 3D editor came out for Arma, and I ran Jeremiah through a couple of the basic things, just how to use it with our mod pack, but the capabilities of it, it's what you see is what you get. It's like you just go in, you drop bad guys onto a rooftop or in a room or in a building, drop down the vehicles you want. You can drop a soldier that you can play as, then open up the Barbie box, the full arsenal with every modded gun you've added to the game, completely customize your uniform and your gun, and then play as that guy in multiplayer. Like the customization and the ease of use is just fantastic.
When you say ease of use, do you mean ease of use for someone that's been doing Arma editing for a while, or anybody to jump in?
Jeremiah?
Yeah, because I don't know anything about scripting. I can put units on the map in the 2D editor, but I can't script anything. I would say if you want to do fancy respawns, and if you want to do if you want to add the ACE modules and the TFR modules and stuff, if you want to add a bunch of mods, I think it's still going to have a layer of complexity to it. But it has a visual interface for most of those mods, which for me was 10 times easier to understand than doing any of the Squiff files and the text editing and stuff. And the 3D editor for me, because I'm a visual learner, made it much easier to conceptualize what I wanted to do with a mission. It was so much easier to brainstorm that when I was looking at the map and zooming around, flying around it and thinking, okay, what would be good here? What would be good here? What makes sense? And that was so much easier to do. So what I'm probably going to be doing is building out the mission and then sending it to Dave to make sure the respawns are working and all the loadouts are synced to the right stuff. And I'm going to let him handle that. But the actual scenario creation, I think anybody in our crew could do with a 20-minute tutorial.
Which I was going to ask, if it's easy enough, is it something Joel and I could learn and then make a surprise mission or two for you guys?
I mean, you still need to know how to balance the mission, so I don't know.
Balance missions, come on.
That's been the hardest thing for me to learn, honestly, is I've had to have group balancing sessions before where they're just like, Dave, take the imagination, now divide it by 3. That's the mission.
Those enemies you think we can handle 10% of those.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the complexity of it, our group uses some more complex mods, so that just adds, like Jeremiah said, a layer. But if you were to open up vanilla Arma, or if you just wanted to shoot bad guys, so easy to just visualize. And it's so cool, James. Like, if you look at a town with a bunch of buildings, when you drag a guy over from like the list of bad guys you can choose from, it has
is it like the Nintendo, like the Wii, where it's like the arms and legs are like waving around as you're carrying them?
Actually, it reminds me of like a desktop like statue, because when you pull him off of the side, he's like holding his gun, right? And then it has like a little disc shape below him, and the disc helps you see like where you're gonna plop him onto the map. So like you can plop him onto a rooftop or like a catwalk or something, or just in the woods somewhere. And it's like you're just placing toy soldiers to massacre each other. It's really cool.
And I've got some cool ideas. Wraith Squad, expect something early next week. We're going to be playing, but that is our show this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed it being streamed on my channel this week. Next week, check out Evil Viking 13 on YouTube. We'll be streaming there at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But for now, you can always write in this show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can visit us at our website, casualshenanigans.com. You can find us on Twitter at casualshenaniga, at Evil Viking, at Germ Gaming. And soon, James, might there be a Twitter or a page for your YouTube covers?
We'll figure that out.
All right. If you have a song you want James to cover, send it in. He promises to do all of them.
Nope, don't know.
But for now, guys, thank you for coming out. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you to our Patreon supporters who make it possible for us to bring out the podcast to you and support wonderful things like our community Teamspeak server, which you can find in the description. You're welcome to use. Supports things like the original Potato Masher build.
Potato Masher time.
It's not right now, though. If you're interested in the Potato Masher, you should go check out my Just Cause 3 review video that just went live on my channel this week. And, of course, if you like Fallout sediments, you should go watch Dave's channel utterly destroy any other Fallout YouTubers right now. But go check all those things out, and then we will see you next week. And until next time, stay casual.